Governor Romney, as president, would you have signed the National Defense Act as written?
Yes, I would have, and I do believe that it's appropriate to have in our nation the capacity to detain people.
They don't have a clue that Mitt Romney wants internment camps for U.S. citizens. They don't have a clue about that. Mitt Romney is a criminal. He runs a crime syndicate. Now, this is not, the reason that you haven't seen Reince Priebus around since this lawsuit. Has anybody seen him around talking about this on TV? No. You know why? Because he's hiding under his desk. NBC News reported that the highest echelons of the RNC and the Romney campaign are scared to death of this case. Okay? You're not going to see Priebus out there making announcements like that about how they're going to make rules, because those are federal crimes. And the penalty for intimidating or coercing any plaintiff to a federal case for each count is 5 years in federal prison. So what I can guarantee you is that Reince Priebus is not making a rule that's going to intimidate any plaintiff in this case. I can guarantee you that, because the judge will put him in handcuffs and march him off to federal prison for 5 years each count that it occurs. So you can multiply the number of plaintiffs, and that basically we're talking about life imprisonment at that point. Okay, this is not about rules. The judge isn't going to care about any RNC rule. The judge isn't even going to read the RNC rules. The judge isn't going to read the bylaws of any state, and the judge isn't going to give a damn about any state law. This is all about the federal law. The federal law, and only the federal law, and U.S. Supreme Court decisions are going to decide this case. Now, when the United States Supreme Court speaks, all the rest of us have to follow their rulings. Only if you were a criminal would you not have to follow their rulings. Only if you were running an organized crime syndicate would you not have to follow their rulings. Mitt Romney, he's a criminal. He's the head of a crime syndicate. I don't say those words lightly. I don't say it lightly. I'm pretty sure it's a crime to break people's bones. I'm pretty sure it's a crime to rig a voting machine in Arizona. A voting machine where you vote for Dr. Paul, but it registers as a vote for Mitt Romney. How can that possibly happen? How does that happen? Romney is a criminal. He's not a small-time criminal. He's trying to steal America. And we are not going to hand the keys to the Oval Office to this crime syndicate. That is not going to happen. Romney is not the lesser of two evils. Romney is evil. He is evil. And we are going to stop him from becoming president of the United States. As Republicans who know this information, we have a duty to the rest of our country to prevent Mitt Romney from becoming president of the United States. We're not going to let a criminal be in the Oval Office of the United States. Mitt Romney is a criminal. Dr. Paul, is a decent man. 300 school children are going to learn Ron Paul, freedom, liberty, in the same stature as the Founding Fathers 300 years from now. That's what they're going to learn. Ron Paul, freedom, liberty. He saved the Constitution. That's what's going to happen. We cannot allow the Ron Paul legacy or the Ron Paul campaign to be put into a position where we are just negotiating for a position. In this case, we have over 300 right now, and before it's done, it'll be over 500. But let me tell you where we are. We saw the Mitt Romney campaign going state to state like locusts as they ran a crime syndicate, an organized crime syndicate. And this combination of the Republican National Committee and Mitt Romney decided that could include breaking bonds, stealing ballot boxes and out to cars and driving away, intentionally miscounting votes, as occurred in Iowa at the first caucus, when 20 votes were secreted away so that Mitt Romney could be declared the winner, but there was a patriot named Edward True who wouldn't stand for that to happen. And Edward True fought and fought and fought and fought, and he made sure that got public. And lo and behold, one day Mitt Romney was no longer the winner of the Iowa caucus.
You know,
and now we know who is the winner of the Iowa caucus.
Okay. Very good. Okay, next question.
By the way, for what it's worth, I'm very grateful for what you're doing. I just wanted to know how confident you are that, you know, our judge is going to, you know, not be, you know, approached and...
How do I feel about the judge? Is that your question?
Yeah.
Okay. We got roughly a round number, about 200 judges in the Ninth Circuit, and the way it works is they get randomly assigned to cases. And so, as it happens, this case was randomly assigned to Judge Carter. And I've been practicing law in front of Judge Carter for over about 30 years in front of Judge Carter for hundreds of cases. And I'll tell you this about Judge Carter. He's about the most strict judge in the entire country. Former Marine, and he runs his courtroom like a Marine. And you better know what you're talking about when you walk in this. You better have the answer to the question that he asks. And you better not try to mislead that court, and you better not utter a single word to try to mislead that court and Judge Carter. And Judge Carter will go exactly by the law. He doesn't in his courtroom. He will go by the law. And so, if I could go all throughout this country, in search of a judge to hear this case, I would try to find Judge Carter. I can't even begin to tell you how pleased I am that we lucked out to have a judge who I know is gonna go by the law, and nobody's going to intimidate Judge Carter. Nobody. Ain't happening. Believe me, he could care less that the Republican National Committee standing in his courtroom. His question is to them is going to be, do you have bound delegates? You have bound delegates. And they're going to say, we have bound delegates. And they're going to try the double talk routine about this rule and that rule. And Judge Carter's going to look at them and say, well, what about the federal law that says you have bound delegates? And then their attorneys are going to stand there dumbfounded and say, well, we have this rule and we have that rule and we have this rule and we have that rule. And then Judge Carter's going to say, I'll give you one more chance to tell about the federal law that says you can't have bound delegates. Okay? Judge Carter is a no-nonsense judge. We're very lucky to have Judge Carter. He's a no-nonsense judge. We have more than 300 plaintiffs. And out of those 300 plaintiffs, well over 100 are the Ninth Circuit. So we have over 100 plaintiffs from the Ninth Circuit. And we also have about 25 defendants from the Ninth Circuit. There is no other circuit in the country that could possibly have more plaintiffs and defendants right their very own circuit than we have in the Ninth Circuit. So this, and what I want you to know is people who are running that convention are going to be so frightened about being put in federal prison that you won't have to worry. You won't have to worry. They'll be serving you snacks and coffee while they go the extra mile to make sure they make a public television record that you're voting your conscience. You don't have to worry about it. Don't worry about it at all. If the judge rules the federal law is going to apply, they're all going to worry about going to federal prison. They're not going to be looking for ways to violate the court order. I guarantee you, they're not looking for ways to violate the court order. And one last question: Previs isn't going to care about Mitt Romney anymore. That's going to stop. And I'll tell you something. I can say this out to millions of people. Millions of people are coming. Millions are coming to Ron Paul. By the millions.
Maybe they'll start to hear us pretty soon.